Hi guys, welcome to science class today. I'm excited to teach this lesson. I'm going to teach about adaptations today. And adaptations are things that help living things, plants and animals, survive in their habitat. And I'm going to talk about two different kinds today. The first kind are structural adaptations. And you can see the definition there, physical features that help a living thing, plant or animal, survive. So structural adaptations are a structure or part of its body. And they can be really general, like having good eyesight, strong legs, having a good sense of smell. But some animals have really unique and special adaptations to help them survive, especially if they live in kind of a harsh habitat or a habitat that requires something extra in order to survive. And so the list of structural adaptations is endless. If you think of every plant and animal in the world and all of the things that make up that plant or animal that help it survive, that would be a really long list. So I have come up with just kind of a general list of some adaptations that you may see on a plant or animal, things like claws, fur, blubber, especially for those animals that live in the Arctic or the Antarctic, a sharp beak or a curved beak, lightweight seeds. That's a really great adaptation for a lot of plants because it allows them to spread. So if you think of those dandelions that you pick and blow and make a wish on, and those seeds scatter everywhere, those are adaptations that allows those plants to continue to grow because their seeds are so easy to spread. Camouflage is a really common adaptation, structural adaptation. Mimicry, that is when one animal looks like or acts like another animal. And there are some really great examples of that. There are some frogs, like the poison dart frog game that we play. There's a poison dart frog that is poisonous, but there's another frog that mimics what that one looks like, even though it's completely harmless. And that fools predators into thinking, oh, I don't want to eat that frog because it's poisonous. So mimicry is another example. Having small ears or large ears can be an adaptation. Sharp teeth, strong legs, a long tongue, spikes or thorns, and that can be on a plant or on an animal to help it survive. Having quills or a long tail, a short tail, stripes, eye placement, good eyesight, good sense of smell. Like I said, this is just a small list of all the structural adaptations that we can find. The second kind of adaptation are behavioral adaptations. So the definition there, those are actions or behaviors that help a living thing, again, plant or animal, survive. So these are not part of the body of the animal or plant. They're things they actually do, ways they behave that help them survive. There is a really long list of them, not as many as structural, but I came up with some pretty common behavioral adaptations. Some animals play dead, like a possum, and that can help them survive because a predator may think it's already dead and not want to go after it. Burrowing, migrating. Animals will migrate typically to warmer weather when it gets cold to avoid those harsh temperatures. And also food gets really scarce during cold weather, so they migrate to find more food. Hibernating is a great behavioral adaptation that some animals do. Living in groups, warning calls or mating calls, mating dances. Some animals, a lot of birds, do these really funny, elaborate dances to try to get a mate, and that's a behavioral adaptation. Some animals roll into a ball. Some animals will hunt in packs. Being nocturnal is a behavioral adaptation, helps those animals escape the harsh temperatures of the day, and not as many animals are active at night, so being nocturnal is a behavioral adaptation. And something simple as digging or climbing can help certain animals survive to escape maybe a predator. So those are some common examples of behavioral adaptations. So this is another time when I would get my hawk and my owls out, and we would take a look at them and think of all the different adaptations they have to help them survive. but I don't have those, so I picked a few pictures of some animals that have some really great adaptations. So this polar bear has a lot of special adaptations based on where it lives. So obviously it lives where it's really cold and there's a lot of snow, so it's camouflaged. Not because it has a lot of predators, but so it can blend in and sneak up on its prey. You can see its ears and its tail are really tiny. And that's an adaptation, a structural adaptation to help it survive, because those small ears and small tail will help keep in the heat. It won't let the heat escape, so that helps keep it warm. It actually has clear fur. It looks white when it's all together, but it's clear fur, allows it to blend in, but also allows the sunlight to get through it. And underneath that, you can kind of tell based on the nose and around its mouth that its skin is actually black underneath all that fur, because black absorbs a lot of that heat from the sunlight, so it helps keeps them warm. You can't really see its paws well, but there's a lot of adaptations just on its paws, those really strong claws to help catch and dig into prey. It has fur on the bottom of its paws to give it some traction on the ice as well as keep it warm. And it has pads on the bottom of its paws too, just like a cat or a dog does. So those are some pretty common adaptations. Polar bears are also really good swimmers, so that's a behavioral adaptation. It allows it to swim from maybe iceberg to iceberg, or in order to find more food. It can also dig through the ice and help get its prey too. So those are just some common adaptations for a polar bear. Plants also have adaptations. So we talked about lightweight seeds, thorns on berry bushes, but a cactus is a great example because it lives in a really harsh habitat. So it has a lot of different ways that it has adapted to survive. So obviously those spikes or thorns are one example, keeps people and animals away from messing with it. And it also has the ability to keep in a lot of water, because obviously in the desert there isn't a lot of water. So these plants are adapted to store water inside so that it can survive. And then the last one is really cool. You're going to see a little bit more about him in a book that I'm reading tomorrow. But this is called a thorny devil. And if you've never seen this, it's a pretty great name for this animal, right? A lot of different special adaptations. It blends in with its surroundings, so that's camouflage. You can probably guess it lives in like a desert environment where there is not a lot of water. All those spikes, definitely going to keep predators away from it because nobody wants to mess with him. Actually allows the way the spikes are positioned, anytime rainwater does fall, it kind of directs the water toward its mouth. So that is such a cool adaptation. You can see he also has thick, scaly skin, and that's another adaptation, a structural adaptation to keep him safe from that hot sand and from that harsh sun. So structural adaptations, parts of a body, physical features that help a living thing survive, and then behavioral adaptations, actions or behaviors that a plant or animal does in order to survive. So that is today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something, and then you're going to practice that skill for science this week. So make it a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.